We're going to take a look at all the new games coming out this week, including Ghostwire Tokyo, Kirby the Forgotten Land, and Tiny Tina's Wonderland. And I do apologize for this video coming out late. I was on vacation and unfortunately did not plan ahead of time. So here we go. Hello and welcome to Parents Guide to Games. My name is Stefan. If you please like, share, and subscribe. Here are the games coming of March 22nd, 2022. The first game on our list is Rune Factory 5. This is coming on Nintendo Switch. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: fancy violence, mild language, mild suggestive themes, and use of alcohol. This is a role-playing game in which players assume the role of an anesthesiac fighter helping to defend a town from a monster. Players explore the town, interact with characters, and complete missions and activities and battles and various monsters. Characters use swords, hammers, and magic attacks to defeat enemies in melee combat. Battles are highlighted by impact sounds, screen shaking effects, and diminishing health bars. Some female characters are designated with low-cut tops to reveal deep cleavage. The dialogue contains some mild innuendos. During the course of the game, players can obtain and give wine as gifts, causing some recipients to fall asleep after consumption. Swear words appear in the game. Next up is the Ascent, coming on PlayStation 5. The rating is mature. The content descriptions: blood and gore, drug references, sexual themes, strong language, and violence. This is an action role-playing game in which players assume the role of a worker in a mega corporation in a futuristic dystopian world. As players traverse between districts, interact with characters, and complete side quests and engage in combat against various factions and enemies. Players use futuristic pistols, machine guns, and rocket launchers to kill enemies in frantic combat. Battles are highlighted by realistic gunfire, large explosions, and cries of pain. Blood splatter effects are depicted as enemies are shot. Some areas depict corpses and large bloodstains on the ground. A handful of attacks cause enemies to burst and explode into chunks of flesh. Severed limbs can be seen on the ground. The game contains suggestive and sexual material, a nightclub with a holographic dancer and an XXX sign, a club described as a sex bot brothel, with robotic dancers gravitating on stage. Dialogue references sexual material. A fictional drug called snooze is prominently featured, as well as other drug references in the dialogue. Swear words are heard in the game. Now let's take a closer look at Ghostwire Tokyo. This is coming on PlayStation 5 and PC. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: language and violence. This is an action-adventure game in which players assume the role of a man facing off against supernatural threat in Tokyo. From a first-person perspective, players explore the spirit world, collect mythical items, and battle various ghosts and demons in frantic combat. Players use spells, talismans, and blasts of energies to defeat the spirits. A handful of ghosts wield machetes or giant scissors while menacing player character. Combat is highlighted by cries of pain, explosions, and light effects. One cutscene depicts an aftermath of a road accident with several corpses lying on the ground. Swear words appear in the game. Next up is Kirby Forgotten Land. This is coming on Nintendo Switch. The ratings are 110 and up. The content descriptions: cartoon violence. This is an adventure game in which players will help Kirby save kidnapped creatures from evil forces. Players traverse 3D platforms while collecting coins, solving puzzles, and using Kirby's abilities to battle cartoony enemies. Players use swords, bombs, and blaster-type weapons to defeat enemies. Some weapons allow players to use a targeting crosshairs for ranged firing. Boss battles can be frantic, with laser fire, explosions, and projectiles firing at Kirby, often from close-up perspective. And the last game on today's list is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. This is going on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: blood, crude humor, language, partial nudity, suggestive themes, and violence. This is a first-person shooter in which players assume the role of a character within a fantasy tabletop role-playing game. As players explore the graphic novel-style environments, they traverse landscapes, interact with characters, complete missions and side quests, battle human and creatures in frantic combat. As players use pistols, crossbows, machine guns, and melee weapons to kill enemy forces. Battles are highlighted by realistic gunfire, cries of pain, green or blue blood splatter effects. During the prolonged sequence, a tree creature is depicted emitting red blood. The game contains suggestive sexual material in the dialogue. A handful of enemy creatures are depicted with explosive buttocks. During the course of one mission, players must wait for a pet creature to defecate and then collect its feces. Swear words are heard in the dialogue. Thank you to bensound.com for the music track. Please follow Parents Guide to Games on YouTube at Parents Guide to Games, on Facebook at Parents Guide to Games, on Twitter at ParentsG2G, and email any questions or concerns at parentsg2g@gmail.com. And always, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.